Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese, episode 486. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Mark Augustiniak.
What's up?
Matt Zellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. Welcome to 2023. We're going to go ahead right now. We're going to kill the intro music. Not that we don't love the intro music, but we're going to turn it off right now because we have too much. This is the jam-packed episode. We need to jump right in and get right to it. It's 2023. What is your most anticipated video game release of this year, Matt?
The Elden Ring DLC.
Should have prefaced with currently announced and confirmed to be real and releasing this year. Mark, what is your most anticipated 2023 scheduled release?
This was tough, but I boiled it down to Street Fighter 6.
I made my short list. What about Street Fighter 6 puts it at the top of the Mark list?
This was a long time coming for me. Street Fighter finally reached a spot that I've been dreaming of since PS2, where it finally looks a little more realistic, but not, but in its own way still. Like, it's still stylish and everything. And the more I see about it, the more hyped I get. They look like they're doing so much to this. It doesn't feel phoned in. Everything about it just feels so refreshing. Ken doesn't look horrible, and it's been like a decade of that. Yeah. So it's nice to see that to be fixed. Just everything about it just looks great.
I think that it technically looks like 5 with better lighting and a lot different, but like art direction wise, the characters are still like big and beefy and weird looking like they are in 5, but I don't hate it this time, if that makes sense. Maybe we're just used to it now because 5 was so like, ooh, they're really.
Look at Ken from 5 and then.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Look at Ken now.
Yeah.
It's that RE engine.
No, it looks very good. I'm very excited to see that and what else Capcom might announce this year in that engine. I think Capcom's got a good couple of years coming up. Matt, I gave you a hard time, but if Elden Ring DLC is the true winner, what's got you so ready to dive back into that world?
I'm just ready for more Elden Ring. I like all the mechanics of that game. But if we want something confirmed and announced, Final Fantasy 16, I think that is the.
Let's jump more into 16 in a second, but Elden Ring real quick, just answer this. Do you think you've seen everything in Elden Ring as there is to see? Like, could you not get something by just replaying it?
Oh, I could absolutely get something out of it. I'm sure there's some crevice in the world that I never found, and that's probably right to the left of where you start in Limgrave. So, like, yeah, I'm sure I could replay it.
But Final Fantasy 16, speaking of Capcom, bringing in the Capcom combat designer to make a Final Fantasy game. I've been thinking a lot about 16 lately, as I've been itching for a Final Fantasy game. So I've been looking through a whole bunch of them. Also, just last week, John Linneman, along with Mark Duddleston from My Life in Gaming, put up a Digital Foundry retro on Final Fantasy 13, which had me kind of like, should I? Is it time? 16. Tell me more about 16. Why now? Why Matt? Why Final Fantasy 16?
I think this will be the first one off of 7 Remake. Then plus playing 15 for its problems, like it had a lot of good ideas. Some of them they executed on. I like the combat for the most part. 7, I think, refined it. And I just want to see what else they do with it. With the original story that didn't go through development hell, that was supposed to be one game and not another, and it's not a reimagining or a remake or a retelling. It's with Clive Redskin, or what's his name?
Yeah. David Brown.
Yeah. And Jane Smith.
Yep. Matthew McConaughey. I'm intrigued by 16. It's the first, for me, I think it's the first big Final Fantasy game that I'm ready for ahead of time. I think every other Final Fantasy that's released, I've been on the periphery or I've known people that were very excited, but this is the first one where I'm like going into it like, yes, I am going to be a Final Fantasy boy. Watch me go. Coincidentally, this game's being headed up by game director or producer behind Final Fantasy XIV. This is not necessarily wholly related, but reading through last week's Famitsu interviews with Japanese game developers to see what they're talking about for 2023, the creator of Final Fantasy, who now runs Mistwalker, Sakaguchi, said that he's still just playing Final Fantasy XIV a whole bunch. Just kind of funny to me that came full circle in that way. But he's just hanging out playing it. I cannot get into 14. I've tried. And it's not just... No, it probably is just the MMO thing. It's got to be. Because I did play through the entire core campaign last year or 2 years ago. But yeah, I get burnt out on it. And you guys no interest in the 14, right?
No.
I like low key kind of do, but there has to be some prerequisites before that.
Like
other people that I know just have to be playing, and I know it's going to be like a long-term thing.
Okay, hear me out. Because I own it on 20 platforms now at this point, because I've bought it and tried it and whatever. I have it. We could do it. What if we dedicated a night to Final Fantasy? What if we said, hey, this is... Not that that's the only night you play, but what if it's like,
right.
Hey, Sunday night, you know that we can party up and hang out together, and that'll be our Final Fantasy 14 night. That way, you know, if nothing else, you at least have that night to go grind and dungeon hop and whatever.
Right. I mean, that sounds fine with me. I'm just... The only thing I always get concerned with is, like... Is the beginning of MMOs, like, especially for this one, is this... I remember playing a little bit of it. I don't remember how far I got. I played it on PS4.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to remember, like, is the beginning part a slog? Like, is it a slow burn? Is it not as fun as the later stuff when you're able to change a class? Or is it kind of consistent through and through? So,
it is a
hopefully,
slog.
like, yeah.
Like, the only reason I got through the beginning is because I had two monitors. And I had YouTube videos up on one where I was like watching these long form 6-7 hour documentaries about video games and then playing Final Fantasy 14 on the other screen. So that sucks. But then when I asked somebody who had played all the way through and everything, should I just level skip and jump into the end game stuff? They were like, no, because there is stuff, and also like playing that early stuff is how you learn your character and learn your class, and you really get good with it. And honestly, he's right. By the time I got through A Realm Reborn, I felt really good about being a black mage, at least like understanding how to do it. Of course,
Right.
Then at that point, you're like, well, now I want to change class and see what else is out there, but that's a whole other.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's a lot to unpack.
I know. Well, we'll revisit that. We'll do a Final Fantasy 14 check-in as we approach 16 in the next 6 months. Coincidentally, I had a short list. Street Fighter 6 was on it, but top of the list, directly related to Final Fantasy, it is none other than Square Enix's own Theater Rhythm Final Bar line. I looked at the release calendar and I'm like, no, that is legit my most anticipated video game release. It is something that I have said.
Wow.
I don't know if I've ever done it in an annual prediction show, but I have long asked for and desired a sequel to Theater Rhythm on the Switch. And we're getting it in like a month. So I hope everyone buys it, and I hope everyone loves it, and it's not just rose-colored glasses from me. Following up to that one, though, Slitterhead. I'm excited to see what that studio does now on its own, with seemingly a smaller, approach to game making, but still bringing that Japan studio legacy. I'm intrigued, and and curious, and we shall see. That is our most anticipated. I would love to know what everyone's most anticipated games are. You can email us, podcast@thefreecheese.com. You can leave a comment. You go to thefreecheese.com. I'm encouraging you all, as we're a week out from talking about Hypnospace Outlaw, go to thefreecheese.com. We have a lot of new content. We have a full write-up for everything coming this month in January. We've announced all the games as well. So if you haven't been to the website, go check it out. If you haven't been to the website, I'll tell you right now. This month kicks off season 11. Actually, this episode kicks off season 11 of the Free Cheese Podcast. We're going to continue what we did last year by ranking and reviewing and playing one game per week across every episode of the podcast, taking a smaller approach than we did last year. Last year we did 15 games per the three of us. You math boys out there will know that's 45 video games we played last year. Cutting it down to 10 apiece, 30 video games total. And then the in-between weeks where we don't have a specific game to play, rank, and review, we are doing some other fun things. So this month we're going to close out with a console ranking where we're building another list, except this time it's video game consoles. Between now and then, we'll have Hypnospace Outlaw next week. The week after that, we're talking Undertale. And then we'll close out the final game of the month, WWF Betrayal. So stay tuned for all those. Check them out. Let us know what you're looking forward to the most. I'm ready to hang out. Hypnospace has taken me back to a different type of internet headspace. So I'm ready to participate with the community if you'd like to participate with us. Speaking of which, I would like everybody to take a quick journey along with me to the beginning of 2022 as we sat down to look ahead. We also, before making our predictions, and I guess before I recap our predictions from last year, we also sat down and we did a year of speculation for each of us. So this was something I'd seen on a forum post where someone sort of self-identified what they saw as their own gaming habits or trend, and they kind of proclaimed that 2022 would be the year of blank for them. So I have written down here what everyone had done or had guessed. I also went through for Matt and Mark and for the listener's sake, and I kind of paraphrased what you said at the time was your reasoning for why you did the year of blank, right? So I want to know, kind of, did you stick to what you thought it was? Did it end up, did it influence you? Did it just kind of happen organically? I'm curious. I will start with Matt. Matt, you said, because I think you went first last year. So you said that 2022 was the year of me. Matt said that in the past you've been influenced by FOMO. You wanted to be a part of the conversation. You chased the end of a battle pass before it was over. You've chased the stupid scorecard background, but you want to play whatever you want to play whenever you want to play it. In 2022, you didn't want to play something because the battle pass was pushing you there. You didn't want to play something because you felt obligated. You don't want to buy a game that's brand new just because you see it trending on social media. The first sign of this shift for you was Deathloop, knowing that it came out and you had no interest in buying it, despite it being talk of the town. And then as we were quickly approaching the sequel to Horizon, was the first one called Horizon Zero Dawn? Yeah. And the second one's
Forbidden West.
Whatever. And the fact that you had no interest in playing the sequel was another, quote, sign that I'm already right on track. So, Matt, how did 2022's year of you work out?
I think I nailed it. I check and check. I did not end up buying Horizon Forbidden West. I haven't thought about buying Horizon Forbidden West. I went out and bought a steering wheel to play racing games for a summer because that looked fun, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I mean, yeah, I played Elden Ring. I guess that's like the one AAA game I got at release, but I had been anticipating that one for forever and like hopped on, ready to go for that. And then I think just a couple months ago, same thing. Like all that, despite the driest year in video games, besides like Elden Ring or whatever, we got all those hits right at October. And the one I picked to play was Sonic because it looked fun.
Because you wanted to play it too, which I think was
Yeah.
Further complimented your yes.
I mean, I was even talking about getting God of War. It never happened, and then I just never cared to do it, and I still don't care. And yeah, I think I fully have done it. I did it.
I think so too. I'm going to add and subtract from your argument here real quick, just as someone with, not that you don't have more insight into your own life, but I just listened to the podcast the other week to prepare for this. So at time of this, you pointed out that Elden Ring would be the one exception because you were already anticipating it and whatever. And it's obviously that game was going to be huge, but you were already in anyway. I'll add to that. You had the shirt, dude. Like you, regardless of any Twitter buzz or anything else, you were already going down that From rabbit hole in a deep way to chase all those platinums. That Elden Ring being popular or not popular, you jumping in when it came out, I think that was still part of you, not necessarily anything beyond that. I will also say, or rather ask, what have you been playing lately?
Oh, Call of Duty.
Why?
Because I want to. I'm not doing it for Battle Pass. I'm doing it. It's fun to do. I like running that shipment map a lot. It's stupid. I've been grinding out the camos just to have the camos.
There it is. Wait, you're done.
What?
There it is.
I'm not grinding. Like, it doesn't feel like a grind.
Right?
Like,
you said, I'm grinding out the camos. I'm not grinding. Which is it? Are you grinding them out or are you not grinding?
I'm doing the objective. So instead of grinding, I will say it like this. I am doing the objectives per weapon to get the camos. So I can get gold, platinum, and I don't know if I'll make it to
All right.
Orion and whatever the fucking fourth one's called.
All right.
I'm just going to keep doing it
Either
until I drop off.
No,
I dropped off
I think
Warzone
you
pretty
did.
quickly. Honestly. I've just been playing the multiplayer, really.
No, I think you nailed it. I think you did it. I think you achieved the year of you. Yeah, me giving you crap about Call of Duty aside. Mark,
Yep.
you intended 2022 to be the year of the empty cup, pointing out that you usually have been leaning more towards shorter games that had simpler mechanics. You typically don't have patience for larger games. They can feel overwhelming, but you're learning to become more patient with larger games. You specifically were citing things like playing Mad Max and some other open world games.
Mm-hmm.
You said you were learning to take your time with games, whether it's big or small, looking to pace yourself and appreciate the game for what it is, not letting emotional triggers stop you from enjoying games. You cited Breath of the Wild at that point.
Yeah.
You closed by stating that you are looking to be more considerate and more aware of the limitations you'd previously placed on yourself. And then, of course, empty cup being a Bruce Lee quote, pointing out the fact that you were just ready to let things wash over you or let experiences come to you rather than bringing your own baggage to things, preventing you from being able to approach them. How do you feel you turned out in 2022 with your empty cup?
I think I have mostly achieved that. I think the biggest obstacle was time management. But aside from that, I think I think I did pretty good with Year of the Empty Cup. I definitely got into games that, especially for Season 10, that I just was not either expecting to play as a fun surprise or have expected but approached differently. And even outside of Season 10, I got into more open world games, or open world where, I got into Ghostwire Tokyo. I took my time with that and really enjoyed it. Sonic Frontiers, it's open zone, but still,
I think that counts.
like, just the traversing and that, I was just having fun with it. There was even one point where I hopped into Far Cry 5 just because.
Yeah.
And then it just got so buggy that I just had to stop. But
Yeah.
But yeah, I did catch myself. And then, not open world, but just a longer game, Mass Effect 2, that we played for Season 10. That's probably the best example for me.
Just letting that happen.
I played 2 Mass Effect games. We only need I only need to play 1, but I played 1 and 2. Just so 2 had that better investment into it.
And I think that too, in direct opposition of what you'd previously thought about Mass Effect.
Mm-hmm.
Way back when, to go in and jump all the way in. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to. I had the Year of Ghosts was my look forward into 2022, specifically pointing out that I had been, as I had started to return to legacy platforms and original hardware, it reminded me of what I'd missed out on in games that I didn't experience the way that I maybe could have. I think this was mostly brought on by revisiting things like the PlayStation 2, but then knowing that, my PlayStation 2 library at the time was very small compared to everything that's out there and the possibilities I could have been experiencing, or the experiences I could have possibly been experiencing. Now that I have the space and tools, I said I was able to visit these games that have haunted me for years, thus the ghosts. Being gifted a Dreamcast let me not just experience the console, but it also let me return to 1999. Because that's plugged into a tube TV, and then at the time I was also watching Sopranos and playing Metal Gear Solid, and it was this whole kind of, the idea of things I knew I should have played, but I hadn't yet. And my goal for 2022 was to sort of go backwards to a timeline that I didn't experience. And I think, generally speaking, I did that. Granted, a couple weeks after buying this, I went way forward and bought a PS5 and jumped right into that whole realm of the future. But then a month later, I bought a PSP 3000. And then I bought a battery eventually. I got into that, but I went down, and you can check out over on thefreecheese.com. We have our top 10 list from 2022, and I put a PSP game on that list because I spent a lot of time playing that PSP. I played Persona 1 on it I almost beat Persona 1 for the first time, which is pretty good. I played a ton of Wipeout, which was something where I'd skipped the PSP largely, but I remember even when I toyed around with PSP stuff later on, when I bought a Go and when I had the Vita, it was always the big ones, right? Like Chinatown Wars, Patapon, the kind of I don't know, things that were out there, but and I guess Wipeout was a pretty big one too, but just had this whole experience that I missed out on. I played a lot more Dreamcast last year. I even got the N64 back into an operable state and started playing some stuff on original hardware on N64, PS2. I bought PS2 games that I was playing, which was cool. I hadn't done that in a while. And then it all kind of came to a head at the end of the month when I got my Pocket finally from Analog. And then I've been playing Game Boy games on it, which has been really cool, revisiting these things that I did have, but in a whole brand new way has been really exciting. I guess.
Nice.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying nice.
Yeah, I think it worked out. I think for me, I know that kind of that approach and that sentimentality has definitely lingered throughout the year, where I've tried to, like, I don't know, strike a balance between the old and the new and, you know, what we have to do for the podcast and whatever else. But do you feel, either of you, that your last year's stuff will continue with you in a way, or is it just ingrained? Like, has it become a part of your being now to just play what you want to, Matt, or be open to new, different types of experiences, Mark?
I don't see me going back. I think I'm going to continue to play what I want to play, just because, you know, I'm an adult now. Not that I wasn't before, but I don't know, more than ever, I feel like I'm an adult. Time is precious, and, you know, I just want to play what I want to play, and you know, I want to have fun. I want to enjoy my time with a game that, you know, I'm actually going to enjoy, or it looks to be enjoyable. I know sometimes you could be fooled and it's crap, but, you know, usually it's not.
Yeah, I think it's probably not going to take as much of the forefront as it did, but I think it's still going to be there for sure. You know, we're always changing.
Yeah. I think there's elements of this stuff that'll go with us.
Yeah.
We will revisit this to close out today's episode. We're going to do our 2023's year of as our final segment today. Next up, though, we'll look at the results from 2022's predictions. And the results may shock you. So I went back, I reviewed everything, I tallied up the scores. I have a winner. I already know who won. And I have some notes just to kind of point out why you may or may not have, because you both kind of, Matt, you always do, but Mark, you took a little page out of Matt's book last year with some
I did.
Longer,
influence,
frustrating predictions. So I had to grab some evidence to support my cases for denying or awarding points. I will run through my 2022 predictions very quickly because they were concise and all incorrect. Number 1, Street Fighter 6 is also released on Switch, which would of course imply that the game was released last year and yada yada. I also specifically gave it a Roman numeral 6, and they have hardcore countered that in the marketing to date. So
twice.
I don't know. It's kind of both. The fact the symbol is it's meant to be both the Roman numeral and the number. So
all right, I'll take
twice.
I said Xbox buys Sega, which is such a kick in the face because like 2 weeks after I made that, they made the Activision announcement, and now that's where it is. So yeah.
Oh yeah,
I know. Another kick in the face, Bandai Namco announces a new Ridge Racer. It releases on Game Pass at launch. If only. I said Xenoblade Chronicles X would release on Switch, bringing an end to all probable Wii U ports. And finally, I said that Nintendo would announce The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Tomorrow, a Grezzo-developed sequel to the Game Boy Color Oracle Duo. And in typical fashion, I do, of course, expect a majority of these things that I've just predicted to happen this year after I don't predict them, or next year after I don't predict them, but they will inevitably happen, as most of my annual predictions end up. So that's a big fat 0 points for me. Mark, in 2022, number 1 said Digimon Survive survives. And indeed it did. It made it. It released in July.
Hell yeah.
Number 2, Mark said Breath of the Wild 2 will run at 60 frames per second, only on Switch Pro. It will get a short clip this year with no release year, but will be out in 2024 as a cross-platform release. I gave you 0 points for that one.
Yeah,
I could have given you a partial
accurate.
because of the short clip.
0.1.
You said 0.1?
But-
All right, so the mark has 1.1 right now.
I
Perfect.
don't know. You could throw that in with the dirty point of once. The dirty half point.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at Matt's already. The Mario movie trailer is going to become the highest viewed YouTube video of 2022 after its reveal via Nintendo Direct in June. You will get rewarded gold points for pre-ordering tickets. I think that last part is a smart thing for Nintendo to do, or at least platinum coins.
Which means
However,
they won't do
Will
it.
Smith kept Mario out of the top 10 this year mark, according to YouTube's 2022 highest viewed videos.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
I know. Number 4, you said Gen Design's next title with Epic will be revealed at Summer Game Fest as a CG, teaser, and a release window of 2023. Passionate fans will cry out for PC ports of their previous works shortly after. Gen Design, of course, is Fumito Ueda's studio who last made The Last Guardian and announced a deal with Epic. However, that game was not revealed at all. We still don't know anything about it.
Yep.
Lastly, you said Halo Infinite's co-op will have massive limitations when it comes to exploring. The game will force you to stay together as a group. Fast travel will be disabled. The host has to be Master Chief, and only the host can grapple shot and use bases to request weapons and vehicles. Other players will be able to play as their custom Spartans. This was incorrect, actually. So the team at 343 canceled local co-op for Halo Infinite, but online co-op did launch, and you actually have quite few limitations in that regard. You can kind of freely wander. You can separate from the group. You can meet up. The one thing they do is they reset progression, story progression, for the player with the least progression, and then wherever you all leave off as a group carries forward into solo play. But they said that in terms of or creating the rubber band for how far you can stretch from your party, they took the largest zone in the game, I guess if you want to call it a zone. They took that area of the map and then doubled it as the length that you could travel without getting zipped to the other person.
What about playable characters?
You're all Chief.
Chief.
You're all Chief. Yep.
Okay. Not bad. Good. I mean,
So,
good
yeah.
for them, you know? I
Good
think
for
that
them,
was
bad
one
for
that I
them.
made wanting to be proven wrong.
Yeah, it seemed like it.
Secret
But,
point.
yeah, that did not come to be. So, Mark, you end our round here with 1.1 points.
Damn it.
And
Welcome.
Matt, your novel begins. Metal Gear Solid has a big comeback this year. We see an official gameplay reveal of the rumored Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. We also see Oscar Isaac in character as Solid Snake before the end of the year. Hideo Kojima is not involved in any of these projects. Sorry, Matt, 000. Although that Famitsu thing does indicate we might get some Metal Gear stuff in 23.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Number 2, speaking of Kojima-san, he may not be working on Metal Gear, but he is working with Konami on a franchise called Silent Hill. The game will be cryptically revealed over 2 Jeff Keighley hosted events and will ultimately be a PlayStation VR exclusive made to push PlayStation VR 2. Matt, I'm not sure if you know, but Kojima announced DS2 at one Jeff Keighley hosted event this past December. 0 points for Matt. Number 3, while people are staying at home and not gambling, Konami is realizing they can make easy money by making video games again. They continue to open the payroll for a new Castlevania. They go to the series 2D roots. The game will star a brand new Belmont in a reboot of sorts. I think you were 1 year too early on that one, but I do think that is a coming. Number 4, Elden Ring will receive one more delay before releasing this year. It will be worth the wait, personally, but the hype will be through the roof when we get Bloodborne Remastered as the marquee PlayStation exclusive this holiday because God of War will be delayed until 2023. Bloodborne Remastered will also come to PC on its release anniversary in 2023.
That was wrong.
There was a target, and you just you missed every single. Yeah. It made more sense a year ago. I know that. It did. It truly, like all of this stuff always does. Finally, Matt, you said Square Enix will rake in money when Final Fantasy XVI releases this year. That is not all they have in mind. We will see a Parasite Eve HD collection in time for Halloween. Almost. We had that tease of copyright or something that ended up not being Parasite Eve at all. And Final Fantasy 16,
this year.
June. So 0 points for Matt, 0 points for me, 1.1 point for Mark. Congratulations, you are our 2022 winner. There it is. And that leads us to our 2023 predictions. Are y'all ready?
Always.
I think so.
Favorite time of the year.
Right. Mark, you won. You want to start us off? Finish us off? How do you want to go?
I can start. And I've noticed that I have a theme with my predictions given last year. So I always have to have a good old CG teaser reveal is one of mine. So this one will be due to the overwhelming positive feedback, Crystal Dynamics will reveal a CG teaser of the next Legacy of Kain game. To be a little more specific, with Kain having a speaking part and Raziel not speaking, but present.
Get into this Matt third point territory here. I like it.
This is
I
good.
like it. And I like where your head's at on that one because that is a series primed for return. Matt, if you don't mind, I'm going to just go in the order of our Discord window.
That's perfect. That's my order as well.
My first one, Sega. You've heard of them. You know them. Announce a new House of the Dead video game coming to consoles.
Oh, man. I would love that.
I think there's one that has been released in arcades that has not come to console, so that's an easy port dump. Why? What are you doing? Why haven't you done it yet?
Put that bitch in VR, man.
I can't go. Also, I'm probably not.
No, I'm not saying about console. I'm just saying in general, like they should put that bitch in VR. Like,
100%. I was thinking that. I just didn't want to commit to it in terms of this because.
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you there. Yeah.
For the prediction. Also, I'm probably canceling my VR2 pre-order, and that would make me sad if this were a VR exclusive.
I am canceling my VR order.
But if this is confirmed, then maybe I don't cancel it so quickly. It can't be. Because how would you play local co-op, 2-player House of the Dead with VR? No, won't happen. It's got to, Anyway, that's my number one. Matt?
Short and sweet. Ubisoft is acquired by someone by the end of the year.
You don't want to name that someone as Embracer Group?
I was thinking about naming them. I'm not gonna lie. They were my front runner.
Yeah.
But I don't know how this. I think the way, because Microsoft and Activision, I think it's going to happen, but it's still up in the air, and there's enough doubt, unlike the Bethesda deal, where I could see it not happening, especially with EU law. So that doesn't go through. Who knows what happens? But yeah, Ubisoft. How long have they been on life support? I think this is the year.
Well, they had that year where Eves came out on stage and was just like,
"Yeah,
we're still alive." And they were,
and they also, I don't know if I just fallen off of video game news enough, but like they also have like the workplace problems. I don't think they're as bad as Activision's, but they got pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fun thing about how we've changed the podcast is I'm really out of touch with, like, the daily news cycle in terms of video games. I do feel like they canceled a bunch of games, they shut down a bunch of live service games, and they're streamlining focus on just a few titles. I mean, I don't know. That's a good one for acquisition, I would say. Mark, number 2?
This one is also very simple. Miyamoto will have a cameo in the Mario movie.
Mm-hmm. Let's give him the point
speaking
now.
role or a visual role?
So definitely a visual. If he says anything, I'm gonna guess on record that's gonna be like one line.
He'll just come out and in his best Danny DeVito impression say, "I'm Daddy."
If I'm to guess where the cameo would be, I'm gonna think it's in the beginning, before the shift to the Mushroom Kingdom happens. So I feel like he's like a potential customer of Mario's plumbing company or whatever.
Yeah, right.
So I feel like they'll visit his apartment or house or something in Brooklyn, and that's
it could be too. Like, remember George Clooney was the voice of like Sparky in an episode of South Park, Stan's dog. So like, what if Miyamoto is credited as having a speaking role, but it's just like a Goomba sound?
That counts.
It does. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Number 2, short and sweet yet again. Konami announces 2 new Castlevania video games. Now, that's the one for me in 2024 to sit down and look at and just give a, point or whatever. But here, just for the kids, for us, for everyone listening, I think we get it's probably not Inti Creates developed because they're doing their own thing now, but something like that where you have a team who does its own 2D style whatever. Maybe a 2D remake, like maybe they do a Dracula's Curse remake with whatever, kind of like how they did that Getsu Fumiden Undying Moon. Like do something like that where they, I don't know. And the other one I think will be like a proper 3D thing. Brand new. I don't know. We'll see. They want to real bad, They've got that Netflix show. They've got that Dead Cells DLC.
I don't think Castlevania's going anywhere. No. I think they're only going up.
Yeah, I agree. So I think we're getting an announcement of 2 new games. Matt, number 2.
Short and sweet again. One of EA Sports' main core big 4 sports franchises will change the traditional yearly release to something else.
Oh, I'd love that. Set a precedent.
I don't know. You see, I didn't want to name the franchise because I don't know. They can go experimental with NHL because that's the least selling. Or they can go balls to the walls and just say EA Sports Madden.
It honestly makes so much sense to make that a game that comes out every 3 years and do roster updates each year. You can still tack on stuff like some sort of seasonal, whatever content. All of those sports games are doing that now, I assume. But do that, ride that out. I mean, the only reason they wouldn't is I assume they probably make a lot of money selling that video game, period. Not even with the microtransactions or any of that other stuff, but they must. But yeah, I would love that. As I've been playing, so I talked about playing PS2 stuff, but I pulled out, sorry, Blockbuster. I have a copy of NBA Shootout 2004 for the PlayStation 2. And I played that for a while. And it's really good. But, like, it was of a different era where, like, they were able to try things. Yeah, they should do that, Matt. I think that would be good.
I know right now, really, as far as the big sports franchises, I'm not counting UFC, although that is them. Hockey or Madden, I don't see them coming back to baseball, but I will make that eligible. And in case they decide to make their NBA game not delayed for once, I will count an NBA game. And that could be how they bring that back to compete with 2K. Almost like a repeat of ESPN Football 2K4 when they went at 20. Remember that.
Yes. There's a NBA Live 19, I think, is on Game Pass. It's really good. Like, it's got some cool, like, make a player mode, make a court mode, all that stuff. Like, I don't know. They should get back in the game. Mark, number 3.
Konami's next anniversary collection to be announced is the Mystical Ninja series. But of course, only the 2D games.
Now I see why you had a change in Discord today. Yeah, I've been toying around with some of those recently. On the Mister, they should make Goemon.
Yeah, I did know. Fun little fact with their first Famicom game, the Ganbare Goemon something, or maybe it's just that. Some people dubbed that the NES killer or the Famicom killer, something like that, because it has like a huge cartridge. Like it's like it was like at the time like 2 megabytes or something like that, or I don't know, but it's like a 5-hour game if you try to like complete it.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that.
Yeah.
Did they do, because Konami was pretty famous for using like special chips and stuff in Famicom carts. Is that one of those, I guess?
Maybe, but I think having that, I think that will translate well to current times. No problem.
Well, especially if I assume M2 is given the reins on that, as they have been for other ones, they will take that and do crazy weird stuff with it. They'll probably end up making another like brand new Goemon game using that could be fun. Number 3 for me, Microsoft will release more first-party studio titles than Sony. Or is it PlayStation? Sorry, should I say Xbox and PlayStation? You get the idea. More Xbox game studios first-party releases than PlayStation in 2023. It's kind of an easy one. That's an easy point. I'm tired of getting 0 points every year. I feel like I needed one, although we could see a bunch of delays still. I also, for the record, if the Activision deal goes through and all that stuff happens, I'm not counting any Activision stuff this year. I probably will count Bethesda stuff.
I think that's Bethesda's
fair.
under the cloud now. Activision's not, but like I don't think that's happening this year. And regardless, they still got to go through all the. They got deals they've signed with PlayStation already for games they're developing. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I would probably count Bethesda stuff though, especially things that are coming out Xbox or PC exclusive. That I think makes sense. We'll see. I hope Xbox has a good year this year, because last year I certainly played my Xbox Series X, but it was, that's on Game Pass. Like, that was my extent of that. Plus, I've been playing a lot of Halo, for what it's worth. Y'all should play Halo. Halo's fun. Matt, number 3.
That was nice for long enough. Where do I go? Here we go. Think a nice black screen wherever you stream Xbox events, because they don't have a name for one, right? Officially,
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say it's around E3.
Big barbecue.
Yeah. It's gonna pop up black screen, and it's gonna say Microsoft X Nintendo, and you're gonna get the start of details that will later be clarified in a direct that week. That is a super mega deal that brings Xbox Game Pass to the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo's classic online library to Xbox consoles.
Whoa.
You had me at hello. And then you took me to bed. Yeah. Wild.
Were we thinking this time last year that Activision would be acquired by Microsoft?
No, look, man.
I'm fucking swinging for home runs here.
You have to, yes, you need to swing for the fences. That's a half-court shot right there, buddy.
Gotta try.
That might be a full court shot.
Yeah, maybe.
Which I'm for. I'm for it.
I think I'm better out than that full court shot, but,
Put it this way, right? Because there are a lot of rare titles that were developed for the NES and Super NES, although I think most of the Super NES stuff is now available on the Switch Online stuff. Definitely 64, right? But yeah, I mean, that could be beneficial for Nintendo to have some of that rare back catalog. Plus, I think we are in an era where there are so many devices now that do old games. So what sets these modern consoles apart from something like, dude, I mean, you just can't. The Mister is outperforming PlayStation 5's PS1 backwards compatibility literally 8-1. There's just so much stuff that the community is doing to make these things far better than the companies in charge of them are. Even Nintendo, like, I think it's great that you can play those things on the Switch, but like stuff you can do on other whatever. There's different markets for all that stuff. There's different whatever. The thing that I think needs to happen is we need to have companies that are trying to figure out ways to do this stuff, because these like one-off collections and where everything is just kind of like proprietary here and there doesn't work. And I think this is the first step towards
there is one small caveat I may have forgot to add. It is just the cloud library on Switch. I want to make sure I emphasize that.
You're talking about the Xbox Cloud library coming to Switch?
On Switch. Playing Xbox games on Switch, it's only the cloud library. Because the Switch is obviously not going to be powerful enough to run whatever the fuck Bethesda comes out with this year. Sure.
Well, but it could run it via xCloud, and that's a way for...
Well, that's what I'm saying. That library. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Not the entire Game Pass library. Not the entire...
I think the goal is for them to get every Game Pass thing in the cloud. But yeah, I agree with you, and I think that's a way for Xbox to stay competitive. Nintendo to stay competitive, because while the Switch is doing well, the Switch is losing out more and more on... Look at the ports that have... Like, Sonic Frontiers does not... If you have any other platform besides the Switch, you should buy it there, right? Bayonetta 3, some of these other things are just not... Pokemon is a huge example, although Pokemon still sold more than any Pokemon game's ever sold.
Yeah, but I heard so much bitching about Pokemon from... I'm not just saying from the zeitgeist, like from people that play Pokemon, like this game's not... like...
Yeah. But I don't think that we're getting... There was just a recent report like last week that... I'm not saying this because of this, but this backs up my argument. It seems like Nintendo internally is skipping another Switch Pro. Or they're going to the next thing. So they're going to ride this out to the end. And I bet you in 2020, maybe late 2023, we hear about something to come out in 24 or 25. But I think they're just going to keep going with the Switch until they're ready for its sequel. And in that regard, yeah, this is a good way to keep the Switch vibrant. In the wake of a Steam Deck, in the wake of other, things out there, yeah.
Yeah, Microsoft's so good about emulation. They have a team dedicated to it. They work with Nintendo. I'm sure it would take them a little bit of time, but it's something I think they can get up and running with their expertise. Not long.
There might be another way that Nintendo can keep its online offerings unique, but more on that after we hear Mark's number 4.
All right, 4 is going to get a little hairy. Kyle Travers
What?
will reveal himself in Street Fighter 6. For those that don't know who Kyle Travers is, it's probably for the best, so I'm sorry that you're about to know now. He comes from a game called Final Fight Streetwise. A well-received game. I'm being sarcastic. Everyone hates it. That is Cody's younger brother.
Oh,
and you play as him in the game. So I'm thinking he will reveal himself in Street Fighter 6, since this takes place in Metro City for the most part. Either as a background character, or referenced as costume content for the custom fighters. Now, this next part, you may either need to censor or cut out, up to you. But if this turns out to be true, I will replace one of my games on my Season 11 list with this. And I will provide copies for both of you.
Wait, so if this turns out to be true, then you have to.
Yes.
You're swapping out a Season 11 game for Final Fight.
No, for Street Fighter 6.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, you're that sure of it.
I'm just making a bet with myself. If it happens, then that's what I gotta do. If it doesn't happen, then we just move on.
All right. Well, now I kind of want to go play this Final Fight game. You need to bing that to me so I can.
It's not, you know what? Funny enough, Street Fighter 6, sorry, just real quick, like the World Tour, Custom Fighter, you learn all different character signature moves, like Ryu's moves, Chun-Li's moves, whatever. Final Fight Streetwise, not too different. You learn different attacks, and one of the first things you learn is Guile's, like, somersault kick.
See?
So, like, just, there's some similarities there. Very little, but it's there.
I can see a world where the directors of this game were like, yeah, we really liked that game, but they won't make us let us make a new one, so we're making Street Fighter 6 and we're pulling in everything we can. Yeah, I'm gonna play this Final Fight game now. Number 4. Game Boy games will not be added to Nintendo Switch Online. Instead, Nintendo will integrate NES Remix challenges to existing platforms that reward players with new avatar elements. So right now you can go and you can buy avatar elements on Nintendo Switch Online app for 50 platinum points or whatever. I think that on NES, SNES, and Nintendo 64, those libraries will start to get these challenges that pop up. We've already seen a little bit of this where it's like, play Super Metroid for 25 minutes. I want to see the NES Remix style stuff. Do you guys remember NES Remix on the Wii U, 3DS? Yeah. Like it did this sort of like...
I never played it, but I know what you're...
Because I think it'd be great if they just ported NES Remix to the Switch, but I don't think they will. But I do think that would be something... Because, to my point a minute ago, there's so many ways to play these games now. What sets this platform apart other than the fact that it's on my Switch? And maybe for a lot of people, that's all that it is. Who cares? It's on the Switch. Yay. But I think having something new to do to try out these games, like, hey, beat Kid Icarus using only whatever, or don't jump in Mario. See if you can win. Yeah. Well, there it is. Number 4. Matt, number 4?
I'm glad you brought up that the Switch Pro is probably not happening. And we're going right to the Switch. Because this goes right in line with what I'm thinking. Tears of the Kingdom. That big old Zelda game that's coming out this year. Mm-hmm. Marks a new beginning for the Switch. The game, of course, has its own edition of the Switch. Duh. To fans' surprise, that edition comes with the Zelda theme. Like, on the UI. There's a Zelda-themed UI. And that finally gets the ball rolling on themes.
Ah, man.
This console update that will eventually come to everyone also brings a makeover to the digital store.
Man, they are in desperate need of that. Have you been on the eShop recently?
Oh, yeah, it's painful. Slow.
Terrible.
Sucks. I mean, not that it's the same hardware, but like this is like Switch OLED too. Like it's not good either.
I would almost rather navigate the PS3 store today than the Switch eShop.
I will say I had to use the PS3 store recently for Parasite Eve.
Mm-hmm.
It was not terrible.
Yeah, it's not.
Adding money to the wallet was, but regardless.
Yeah.
If you have the money in the wallet, the PS3 experience is not bad.
Not the worst. Not Switch bad. Because Switch is bogged down with all these hentai games now. It's insane. Like, how did we become... They really wanted that Steam Deck audience, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, how else are they going to show Game Pass games, dude?
That's true. Mark, are you going to buy the Tears of the Kingdom themed Switch that Matt has just foreseen?
Depends what it looks like. Because I currently have the Skyward Sword Joy-Cons. I'm just staring at them right now, but I don't know I'll have to see how it looks first.
And even more evidence, I think, towards it. This would be the first the first edition of an OLED, I think. Right? They did not do one for Pokemon, right?
There was a Pokemon, but I don't know if it was OLED.
It might be OLED. But anyway, yeah. There's not many of those that are out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Mark, number 5. Your final 2023 prediction.
Luigi's Mansion 4. It's either at least it's announced. Whether it comes out or not, I don't know. But it will take place on a ghost train. Sticking with that bingo spot I had a while back.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Ghost Train to Busan, right?
Yeah.
It's bold. Before a 3D Mario game, I think it's his turn in line, but sure. Blue goo.
No, Mario's dead.
Yeah, Mario died.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. He's coming back to life because of the movie. This is a big revival.
He'll be a ghost on the ghost train. So.
Now that, if you could, maybe they start the trailer by killing Mario again, and then they put him on the ghost train, and you have to go hunt him down.
Or it just starts, when did Mario officially die? Was it the end of March?
Yeah, it was like March 30th.
April 1st. This game takes place.
Was that 2021? That was... Yeah, it wasn't this year.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, that wasn't this year. Yeah, got it. Okay. Boy. All right. My last one. Mark, I'm glad you mentioned a 4th entry in a popular Nintendo series. Matt, I'm sorry. Metroid Prime 4 is shown at the end of the first Nintendo Direct of 2023. Its title is revealed with a promise via post-direct press release to show more of the game later in the year ahead of its holiday 2023 release. Does that all make sense? I had to phrase that very specifically.
Right, yeah.
Clarifying question.
Direct is. Yes.
Is it a legitimate direct or is it a direct mini? Does a direct mini count?
You're, in terms of, I have a couple of direct references. You're talking about it being shown during the first direct?
First one. Yeah, the first direct. Yeah. Is that a mini? Does a mini qualify, or is it legit the 40-minute
I would say, okay, the only thing I would give myself a pass on is if they do one of those, hey, this is just for third-party developers, like if they declare that no first-party titles, sure. Whether that's mini or big or whatever. But the first thing that shows Nintendo-developed games, which I assume would be the first, whatever, mini, big, whatever, that's the one. Now, if they do something and they show anything that is a first-party Nintendo thing, I'm out. And they don't show Metroid, then yeah, cancel it. Yeah, but I think we get a tease of it, right? Like it's just a show that the game hey, here it is. Like, it'll come up, we'll see the retro logo, everybody at the Nintendo New York store will pee themselves, break stuff, smash windows, smash each other, be a full orgy at Rockefeller Plaza.
Kill Mario again.
And then, then they'll show I don't know, it'll be cinematic. And then it'll close out with the title saying Metroid Prime, whatever it is, right? I'm not going to tip all my hands here. And then that's it. And then it'll say holiday 2023, you know what I mean? Then after the direct, when everybody's like looking for the news stories and looking what's happening, me, smart, will go right to the source and read the press release. Everybody else will wait for IGN's, write-up that says, in a press release by Nintendo. Either way, the message will be clear that, because they'll ask Doug Bowser, whoa, what is this? When's it coming out? What's the release date? And he'll say, we're going to show you more later this year. Stay tuned, kind of deal. And then that'll be like the big summer direct show off. If they do physical presence at E3, because E3 is happening this year again, I guess. If that happens, then I think Metroid will be the big.
So you both don't think Mario is next in line?
Well, see, here's the thing. That makes sense. And Nintendo doesn't. So therefore it won't happen.
Mm-hmm. There were all those rumors about that Donkey Kong game, though, Matt. So I'm real confused on what's up with Mario or whatever. We also had that Bowser's Fury thing last year. I don't know. But maybe that's telling. What is Matt's number 5? What is our final 2023
It's not
prediction?
Nintendo related. Sorry.
All right.
It's Microsoft related. They just continue to be the good guys. The guys you want to be. I like that Microsoft. They are the first to declare console price drops this year. Both their Series S and X. And then they will, I don't know if they'll name it or it'll be the Project Scorpio bullshit, whatever. They will announce that curious little device that's been rumored for a long time that I don't think was the Series S. They're all digital streaming box that will end up retailing for $79 to compete with the other streaming devices like your Apple TVs.
Wow. 79.
They want to push Game Pass and xCloud, and it will end up playing Netflix and Hulu and all that stuff. It won't come with a controller, probably, but
yeah,
I don't think you need heavy hardware to stream. I think the fact that we're streaming on Samsung TVs is telling of that. I don't think they have heavy hardware in them. So yeah, instead of it being $1,000 QLED Samsung TV, get yourself one of these $79 boxes and play the new game by Bethesda called Spaceman. What's it called?
Redfall. What is it called?
On ours.
Sky Boys?
I don't remember what
Starfield?
it's called.
Starfield.
That's it.
I feel like I had it until Matt didn't have it, and then you just like a vacuum destroyed my brain's ability to recall. Anyway, yeah. That sucks that we're done. I want to do 5 more. You guys got 5 more in you?
I got scraps.
You got scraps? I got no scraps. Hit me with a scrap.
New 3D Mario game announced.
Oh, wait, I got scraps.
My similar Street Fighter one was instead of Kyle Travers, it was going to be Darkstalkers content.
Oh man, don't
for your custom fighters, and that would be the push for a Darkstalkers game. But I think I'm a year too early with that one, so that might be a next year prediction. Yeah.
And I also jokingly wrote out, there's no way to measure this though. I said approximately 90% of all games on Switch will have a farming mechanic. After that fucking direct we watched a couple months ago, where every fucking game besides I think Theater Rhythm was the only game that did have a farming mechanic.
Farming that we know of, right? That was shown off. Yeah, I forgot I did have scraps tucked in here. So I had Persona 6.
Mm-hmm.
This next one almost made the cut, but it's a little specific, so I didn't want to lock myself in here or lock you guys into another globe-trotting adventure. But I said that Quake 5 would be revealed to us in person at QuakeCon Live this year. I'm still banking on going, specifically because I think they're going to show off new Quake, and I think it'd be rad to go to QuakeCon, but I didn't want to... I didn't want to have to force us into spending a bunch of money to go to Texas. Yeah. Anyway. Ring Fit Adventure 2 and a new Saga game from Square. Those were my scraps. Okay. Yeah. There's that. Let's close out this episode with a quick rundown of what 2023 will be your year of. Mark, why don't we start with you?
I'm not sure. I mean, I guess it's the right word for it. I was going to call it Year of the Tree, but I'm going to call it Year of the Seed.
Ooh.
I've been kind of focused on... That's probably no surprise, but I've been focused on my roots. Typically throughout my life, every here and there, I kind of go through these phases where, like, I try to look back on, like, what made me now, you know? And it's been kind of hard to do that lately because either it's, like, lack of, like, photos from a photo album or home movies to watch. It's just been hard to find. They're either lost somewhere or they're just destroyed or just I don't know, like, nobody knows where they were at. And that was usually my way of just kind of figuring out or just remembering things about myself that I may have forgotten or something. So to apply that with games, I think I'm at a point in my life now where I've done so much experimenting where I'm ready to just make new routes. I'm still gonna, you know, pun intended, branch out here and there and all that. But gonna have, you know, just wanna plant a new tree, basically, and finally start just planting that in, you know, setting those roots. Whether it's with life, with games, you name it.
So we are going to play Final Fantasy XIV then, it sounds like. I like that a lot. I like the vulnerability that you bring to this segment year over year, as we've done it twice now, but yeah, I like that a lot, you know? There's a lot to that. I'm not going to say much more and ruin what you said, because I think it was great.
Oh, thanks.
I'm going to run right in order of our the way we did our predictions and roll into mine, which is the year of balance. Could not think of a better word, and now that I've heard the year of the seed, I wish I had. But nonetheless, year of balance. As we shifted our approach to the podcast for 2022, it meant that I needed to change how I play video games. With less pressure to play the current and more options to explore the past, I'd repeatedly found myself with too much choice. So I reached a point where I was keeping a list of the games I could or should play and then using randomization functions to pick from the list and remove any responsibility of choice from myself. I just took the act of joy and fun and turned it into a chore and just way too mathematical with all this. So I'd often feel guilty for what I wasn't playing, or worse, what I wasn't doing instead. I'd get into a game and then I'd feel guilty that I wasn't working on this thing or writing this thing or whatever. So this year, video games and otherwise, I'm chasing balance and trying to let myself slip into the moment. So I'm working to create greater boundaries for projects and setting better milestones so that I can more regularly feel accomplished and allow video games to feel fun, or allow video game time to feel fun. Yeah. A lot of unintentional pressure of playing something and then the whole time I'm playing it feeling guilty that I'm not playing that or something. And I think it ties a little bit into how Matt pointed out the year of me last year with just like too many games, and I need to just enjoy what I'm playing and what I'm doing and go along with the ride, but also find balance and make sure that I am still playing things for the podcast, still working on projects I want to work on and do those things, but
yeah.
Matt, what's
I like
2023 for you?
I don't have a neat little word. I'm sorry. It's playing out of bounds.
Oh, no, this is a good phrase. This is very good.
I think I've said it a lot, but I'm going to say it one more time. It probably won't be the last time. 2 years ago, when I bought and started playing Shin Megami Tensei 3, that broke something in me. And just over the years, I've been keeping track of that more and more, where like the weird games I would have never played 5 years ago even are some of the most fun in video games I've having. Last year, all the games we played, all 45 of them, that kind of got nailed in my head again and more reinforced. I think it's gonna have the same effect this year with our season 11 games, and I think I want to seek that actively. Like, go through. I don't do this as much as I used to anymore. I don't go through the sale because there's so many storefronts, right? But I need to get back into, at least I can glance at that stuff online. Just looking through the sales and seeing what's out there, what's weird, and being like not just going to like third-person action games or a first-person shooter. Go and pursue a weird JRPG. Go pursue the weird indie game. Maybe make my trade Matt. I don't know. That Mark is tracing out in his Discord. Maybe that's what I'd call it. Trade Matt.
I love it.
Anyway, whatever you want to end up calling it. I chose playing out of bounds because I'm not that clever. Anyway, yeah, that's I want to pursue weird stuff that I would never have touched 5 years ago. Even like the beginning of me joining a podcast, I wouldn't have touched it.
I like that a lot. I will also point out that we have an entire channel in our Discord dedicated to
right.
sharing stupid, weird stuff. You should start there if you need inspiration. But yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, because it's easy to get kind of pushed into a corner of, one thing or what, or even like branching out. But yeah, you branch out one direction and then just stay in that direction. I think it's fun.
Not every game is going to be, weird or whatever. Like, I'm going to play the things I'm going to want to play this year. Like, I guarantee I'll be back in the F1 corner of things once the season starts back up and, other stuff like that. But no, I'm going to be more aware of my surroundings and try to pick up some stuff that looks just fucking weird.
I think a lot of good stuff on our season 11 list that's going to get us into some weird stuff too, hopefully. But yeah, I love it. There it is. I'm scrolling back through that thread to see if I can give you some immediate recommendations, and I found something from July of 2020 called Chamber Number 5. Which I think, Mark, there it is.
Please start with that.
Yeah, you should check out Chamber Number 5, Matt. It's
the best 20 minutes of your life.
It's the horror Lou Bega. Lou Bega? Is that the right name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Right on itch. Don't.
You play it right in the browser. Anyway. Well, I look forward, as always, to this episode in another year to see where we ended up, how everything shook out. Let's get the stuff rolling. You know what I mean? I know everybody just took their little break and all that, but like, let's get that Nintendo Direct up and running pretty soon here, so we can see what's happening. Let's get some of these announcements out there. Let's get some of these games released. We'll see. That is our episode 486, the start of our 11th season of the Free Cheese Podcast. Please tell a friend about it. If you like this episode, you like hanging out with us, I bet your friends do too. I bet your mom would. I bet your dad would. I bet anybody you know might. That mailman you always talk to with small talk, maybe next time you have small talk with somebody, anybody. You're in the grocery store checking out and they're like, ooh, the weather, boring. Get it out of here. Tell them, hey, go listen to the Free Cheese podcast. Don't be a jerk. That's what you say to the stranger. And they'll say, how do you know I'm a jerk? And they say, do you listen to the Free Cheese? And they say, I never heard of it. Well, you might be a jerk. You can change that with one simple download of episode 486 of the Free Cheese podcast. Then you and your brand new friend from the grocery store can come back next week for episode 487. Talk about Hypnospace Outlaw with us. Go to thefreecheese.com. Check out our write-up for January. Get ready for all the games this month and this year as Season 11 continues. We've got a doozy, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, listener, for listening. See you next week with 487. Goodbye.